High school football powerhouse, Mater Dei, back on top of the MaxPreps Preseason Top 25 rankings. Coming in at number 1 on the list for the 5th time in the last 8 years. The Monarchs coming off a 13-1 season, finishing out last season number 3 in the top 25. They have 17 players rated as 3-star recruits or better per 24/7 Sports. But again, coming in at number 1, the top dog on MaxPreps Preseason Top 25 rankings. And we got to get the popcorn out, baby, because it is Poff time. Zack Poff is with us here. We are breaking down the top 5 teams. We're also going to talk about Florida and how many teams they have in the top 25 going on later on. But, Zack, we got to talk about Mater Dei, a usual suspect that we're used to seeing towards the top of the list. There is a new coach there. So tell us about him, what he brings to the program, in your opinion, that's going to maintain this kind of success going into the upcoming season.
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest question mark going into this year for Mater Dei. Raul Lara takes over as head coach. And the one good thing for him, he has experience coaching a big-time program. He was the head coach at Long Beach Poly during their heyday from 2001 to 2013. So he's coached a big-time program and big-time players before. So I don't really see that being an issue for Raul Lara in his first year at Mater Dei. And you just look at the talent the Monarchs have. You know, they're loaded at every single position. They're the most complete team going into this season. So it was kind of an easy choice for me and for us to have Mater Dei at number 1 to begin the year. You just look at the list of names right there. You got Chris Henry Jr. transferring over. He's the number 1 player, in my opinion, in the class of 2026, a 5-star wide receiver. You got Cody Green, big-time offensive lineman, Asir White, Darius Dixon, and Jordan Davison. And another big question mark for Mater Dei is quarterback Dash Byerly, who's a 2025 Washington commit. He transfers over from Chaparral, and he's got to replace Elijah Brown, a guy that went 42-2 during his career as the quarterback, a 4-year starter. So you look at the schedule, too, for the Monarchs. All 9 opponents this year are ranked in the top 100. And you look at those 5 opponents, circle September 6th, because that's when they faced last year's MaxPreps national champs and the number 2 team, Las Vegas Power Bishop Gorman.
Yes, I was just going to say, Poff, we have that circled September 6th, and that brings us to number 2 on the list, of course. Bishop Gorman, they are coming off of a national championship. They finished number 1, of course, in the MaxPreps top 25. They do have some big holes to fill on that roster, especially when you think about quarterback, but some interesting players nonetheless, especially Jet Washington, who has some pretty athletic genes. That is Kobe Bryant's nephew, who's also a standout basketball player. Jet Washington that is on this roster.
Yeah, you know, Jet Washington, he's the number 1 player overall in the class of 2026. He's going to start on defense, but he also can make plays on offense. Absolute stud. And, you know, you got Kobe Bryant's genes. You're going to be a big-time athlete. So, but yeah, you brought up the quarterback position. That's really the big question mark for the Gales this year. Mike Alejado, he was our junior player of the year, the back-to-back MaxPreps player of the year in the state of Nevada. So big shoes to fill at quarterback. But the one nice thing for the Gales, they have the best offensive line in the country, in my opinion, with S.J. Alofa-Tuli, a recent Miami pledge. And then you also got Douglas Utu, a Tennessee commit. So they're going to have some beef on the inside. I love the addition of James Carrington also, too. He's one of the best players in the class of 2026. He transferred over from Rabun Gap out in Georgia. So I can't wait September 6th. That's going to be a big-time game. We'll see if they're both undefeated going in, because they both have some big-time games leading up to that one. But that's definitely a get-your-popcorn-ready game if they're 1 versus 2. We saw that in 2017 with Mater Dei and Bishop Gorman in 1 versus 2. So hopefully we get that again this year in 2024.
The season hasn't even started yet, and we're already circling out the get your popcorn ready matchups that we're excited to see. Let's talk about DeSoto. They round out the top 5. Speaking of undefeated, they're going into this season on a 22-game win streak, which is absolutely insane, Pop. But what makes this offense one of the most explosive in the country?
Yeah, they got some saucy dudes at the wide receiver position. You know, I love Dalen Singleton. He's one of the more underrated wide receivers in the class of 2025. He's a SMU commit. And then you got Ethan Booby Feaster, who's arguably the best wide receiver in the class of 2027. Absolute playmaker. He made some big-time plays as a freshman for DeSoto last year, leading them to their 2nd consecutive 6A D2 state title in Texas. Another big question mark for DeSoto, they got to, you know, get a new quarterback, but they got a guy from that transferred over from All Saints, a Virginia Tech commit, Keldon Ryan. He's a 3-star. He's going to have a big-time year, I think. It's going to be easy in that offense because DeSoto, they know how to score some points. They average over 50 per game last year.
Hopefully, if you have some saucy receivers, the need at quarterback is a little bit more easier of a transition there. If we look at the list in the states and who's represented the most, Florida has the most teams ranked in this preseason top 25 with 7. Then there's California at 6, Georgia with 3. You see the full top 10 here. Poff, I know it's been Florida for the past couple of seasons, same with California and Georgia's up there, but do you think we'll see that stay that way, or are there any other, I guess, states that you see on the rise that could potentially have more teams sneaking into the top 25?
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to be the team along with Texas. I think as the season progresses, you're going to see those kind of even out with Florida and California, because we'll be having our top 100 come out next Monday. And there were some teams from Texas along with Georgia that were just outside of the top 25. So I think as the season progresses, we're going to kind of see things even out. But, you know, every year it's crazy. The state of Florida just has so much talent. I mean, you look at teams like American Heritage, Diabell, and a bunch of other squads. St. Thomas Aquinas, a team that's won 5 consecutive state titles, Miami Central, and the list goes on and on for all the talent in the Sunshine State. Usually when you look at NFL drafts, usually the state of Florida will have the most picks in every draft. So it stays producing talent.
Yeah, there's an interesting article right now on MaxPreps.com, the top 25 most dominant Florida high school football programs over the last 20 years. Go check it out. Poff joining us here on HQ as we are going through MaxPreps Preseason Top 25. Always good to see you, my friend, and I got to get my popcorn, my saucy references ready to keep up with Poff. Poff and the crew, they are the absolute best at what they do, from rankings, schedules, rosters, everything you need to know about your high school team. Make sure you check them out over at MaxPreps.com.